You have big dreams. You see the future you want with perfect clarity. A vision that pulls you forward with its immense promise. In your mind, you've already mapped out the major steps, visualized the success, and felt the satisfaction of achieving something truly meaningful. You are ambitious, driven by a deep desire to build, create, and accomplish great things. This internal fire burns brightly, fueling your imagination and setting a high bar for what you believe you are capable of. Yet, when it comes time to take action, a strange and powerful force seems to hold you back. A heavy anchor dragging against the hull of your forward momentum. This is the paradox that so many of us live with every single day. We are the architects of grand plans, the dreamers of incredible futures, but also the masters of procrastination. We can spend hours researching the perfect workout plan, but weeks will pass before we ever step foot in the gym. We might outline an entire novel in a single afternoon, filled with excitement and creative energy, only to let the document gather digital dust for months. This gap, this frustrating chasm between our ambition and our action, can be a source of immense guilt and confusion. It makes us question our own character, labeling ourselves as lazy or undisciplined, even though we know the drive is there. What if I told you that this struggle isn't a character flaw? What if being lazy isn't the real problem at all? The common narrative tells us to just try harder, to find more willpower, or to simply force ourselves into action. But for those of us who are both highly ambitious and chronically stuck, this advice falls flat. The issue isn't a lack of desire, it's a mismatch between our goals and the fundamental operating system of our brains. The truth is, your brain is wired for motivation in a very specific way, and our modern world of massive long-term goals often works against this natural wiring. We set our sights on monumental achievements that promise distant, uncertain rewards. And then we wonder why our brains, which evolved to seek immediate feedback and conserve energy, refuse to cooperate. This isn't laziness, it's a biological and psychological reality. In this essay, we're going to dismantle this paradox. We will explore why your ambition feels so disconnected from your actions, and introduce a practical system designed to bridge that gap, not through brute force, but by working with your brain's inherent design. Let's talk about Sarah. Or, more accurately, let's talk about a story that might feel uncomfortably familiar to many of us. It's a story about the vast, intimidating space between a brilliant idea and the first real step. By every external measure, Sarah is a success. She's a brilliant graphic designer, a true visionary in her field. Her freelance work is sought after, her portfolio filled with projects that are not just beautiful, but effective. She has a rare talent for seeing not just what is, but what could be. And one day, that vision crystallizes. She sees a revolutionary app, an elegant tool that could fundamentally change how small businesses connect with their communities. It's an idea born from empathy, from watching local shop owners she admires struggle with the overwhelming demands of digital marketing. This isn't a fleeting idea. It's a fully formed concept that takes root and consumes her. Her notebooks quickly fill with intricate wireframes, each screen considered. User journeys are mapped out with an incredible, almost obsessive level of detail. She designs a brand identity so clear, so compelling, she can almost touch it. The colors, the typography, the tone of voice, it all exists, perfectly realized in her mind and on her screen. When she talks about it, her eyes light up, her voice filled with an infectious passion. Her friends and family are captivated. They see her vision, they feel her conviction, and they all agree, she's on the verge of the next big thing. But there's a problem. A quiet, creeping problem that begins to settle in after the initial storm of creation. The domain name, purchased in a moment of decisive excitement a year ago, remains parked. The meticulously structured business plan sits in a folder on her desktop, a digital ghost, unopened for months. The initial lines of code she paid a freelancer to write, which once felt like the first bricks of a cathedral, have been forgotten. Instead of building, she prepares to build. She spends hours watching coding tutorials without writing a single line of code. She reads endless articles on marketing funnels, A/B testing, and venture capital, absorbing theory but never moving to practice. Her internal monologue becomes a loop of justifications. I just need a little more research on the competition. I need to find the perfect development partner before I can really start. The market conditions aren't quite right. I'll wait for the right moment. Each excuse is plausible, logical even, but together, they form a fortress of inaction. And with every delay, every new piece of research, the goal gets bigger, more complex, more intimidating. The simple, elegant app she first envisioned is now burdened with a dozen new, essential features. The launch plan is no longer a simple rollout. It's a multi-stage global campaign. This is the classic portrait of the ambition-in-action gap. A state of being where the clarity of your vision is matched only by the paralysis of your execution. The sheer scale of her dream, once a source of inspiration, has now become a source of paralysis, a beautiful prison built from her own high standards. She's caught in the chasm between the magnificent, flawless future she envisioned and the messy, imperfect, and often clumsy reality of starting something new. The finished product in her head is so perfect that any real-world first step feels like a disappointment. The ambition that should be her engine has become her anchor, weighing her down in a sea of potential. But here's the most confusing part of Sarah's struggle. It isn't a constant state of inertia. If it were, it might be easier to diagnose. Instead, it's a volatile, exhausting cycle of highs and lows. It begins with a sudden, powerful burst of motivation. Perhaps she reads an inspiring article about a startup founder. Perhaps she watches a motivational speaker whose message seems to speak directly to her soul. A jolt of adrenaline hits. This is it, she thinks. This time is different. For a few days, she is an unstoppable force of productivity. She clears her schedule, declining social invitations. She organizes her digital files with ruthless efficiency. She finally makes that call, sends that email, and makes tangible, measurable progress. In these moments, the gap between ambition and action disappears completely. The fear is gone, replaced by a profound sense of hope and control. She feels like the person she knows she can be. But this brilliant burst of energy is almost always short-lived. It's a firework, not a furnace. Just as quickly and mysteriously as it arrived, the motivation evaporates. The immense pressure of the overall goal comes rushing back in. The sheer size of the mountain she has to climb becomes apparent again, and the small, brave steps she was taking suddenly feel laughably insignificant. It feels like she's been sprinting for 3 days, only to look up and realize the finish line has somehow moved even further away. This is the point where the stall happens. The project is once again set aside, and the familiar, toxic feelings of guilt and frustration creep back in, stronger than before because this time, they are mixed with the bitter taste of recent failure. This pattern creates a deeply painful emotional roller coaster. The brief periods of intense productivity make the long stretches of inaction feel even worse by comparison. They provide just enough evidence of her capability to make her paralysis feel like a personal moral failing. She asks herself the impossible questions. Why can I be so productive on Monday, only to feel completely paralyzed and useless by Wednesday? Am I just lazy? Do I not want this badly enough? This inconsistency makes her question her own character, her own grit. And so, she labels herself. She labels herself as flaky. She labels herself as undisciplined. Worst of all, she starts to believe a devastating lie, that she is simply not cut out for her own dreams. But the truth is that these short, manic bursts of energy are often fueled by pure emotion and willpower, which are finite, unreliable resources. Like a sprinter trying to run a marathon, she goes all out from the start, burning through her precious mental and emotional reserves in a desperate attempt to conquer the mountain in one go. She is waiting for the feeling to be right. She is relying on inspiration to do the hard work that can only be sustained by a system. A system she has yet to discover. A system that doesn't require her to be a superhero every single day. To understand why we procrastinate on our biggest goals, we first need to understand our brain's internal operating system. Think of it like a simple but incredibly powerful economy, and its primary currency is a chemical called dopamine. Now, you've probably heard of dopamine. It's often called the pleasure molecule, but that's a bit of a misnomer. It's more accurately the motivation molecule. Its main job isn't to make you feel good after you've achieved something, but to make you to achieve it in the first place. Dopamine is released not when you get the reward, but in of it. It's the chemical that drives you to seek, to explore, and to pursue goals. It's the force that got our ancestors to hunt for food and explore new territories. It's the feeling of, I want that, whether that is a piece of cake, a promotion, or the finish line of a marathon. Here's how it works. When your brain predicts that a certain action will lead to a positive outcome, it releases a small hit of dopamine. This creates the feeling of desire and motivation that urges you to act. It's a beautiful, efficient system designed to propel you toward things that ensure your survival and well-being. But the problem arises when your goals don't fit this simple, immediate reward model. The massive long-term goals of an ambitious person, the very things that give our lives meaning, are often dopamine desserts. When you think about writing a book or building a business, the reward is so far in the future that your brain fails to predict it with any certainty. There's no clear, immediate link between the action, typing one sentence, and the reward, holding a finished book. Your brain, operating on this ancient reward-seeking logic, performs a quick cost-benefit analysis. It looks at the immediate, guaranteed effort required and compares it to the distant, abstract, and uncertain reward. Inevitably, it concludes that the transaction isn't worth it, and so it withholds the very chemical you need to feel motivated to start. You're left staring at a blank page, not because you're lazy, but because your brain has literally cut off your fuel supply. The key, then, is not to fight this system, but to learn how to game it. We must find ways to create small, predictable dopamine releases along the path to our big goals, essentially creating a trail of chemical breadcrumbs for our brain to follow. But there are two other major roadblocks our system must overcome. The first is uncertainty. Uncertainty is a major red flag for your brain. Evolutionarily, an unclear outcome was dangerous. That rustle in the bushes could be dinner, or it could be a predator. When faced with ambiguity, your brain's default response is to freeze and conserve energy. It treats uncertainty as a potential threat. A project like starting a successful podcast is a minefield of uncertainty. Will people listen? Will I be any good? How do I even edit audio? What microphone should I buy? Each unanswered question is a signal to your brain to hit the brakes. Faced with this fog of doubt, it's neurologically safer and more comfortable to stick with predictable, low-stakes activities. This is why we find ourselves scrolling social media or rewatching a familiar TV show. The outcome is certain. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's a safe harbor from the stormy seas of your ambition. So a system for action must create certainty. If your goal is a foggy landscape, your job is to illuminate a small, clear, certain path for just the first few steps. You don't need to see the destination, you just need to see the next step. The final piece of the puzzle is what I call the effort tax. Every single action you take, no matter how small, comes with an effort tax. This includes physical effort, but more importantly, mental and emotional effort. Your brain is naturally wired to be an energy miser. It accounts for only 2% of your body weight but consumes 20% of your energy, so it's constantly looking for ways to be more efficient. This isn't laziness, it's a deep-seated survival instinct. Your brain wants to take the path of least resistance. For big, vaguely defined goals like get in shape, the perceived tax is enormous. The mental energy required just to decide what to do first, which gym, what workout, what time, is a significant upfront cost that can lead to paralysis before you've even begun. This is all about reducing friction. Think of it this way. If your guitar is in its case in the back of the closet, the effort tax to practice is high. You have to find the case, pull it out, open it, tune the guitar. But if it's on a stand next to your desk, invitingly lit, the tax is low. You just have to reach out and grab it. The same goes for any habit. If your running shoes are by the door, the tax to go for a run is lower. If your journal and pen are on your pillow, the tax to write a page before bed is lower. The goal is to make starting the right thing feel easier than doing nothing at all. So how do we dismantle this ambition and action gap piece by piece? How do we build a bridge from the person we want to be to the person we are today? The answer isn't a surge of superhuman willpower or a radical life overhaul. The solution is elegant, rooted in neuroscience, and deceptively simple. It's a system I call the micro-wins momentum loop. It's not about forcing change, it's about making change irresistible. This loop has 4 interconnected stages, and we're going to walk through each one step by step. The first stage, the very foundation of this entire strategy, begins with a simple but profound principle: the 2-minute rule. The rule is this: any new habit you want to build must be scaled down to an action that takes less than 2 minutes to do. Why 2 minutes? Because it's so short that it completely disarms your brain's natural resistance. It's less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee. It's shorter than most commercials. Your brain, which is constantly calculating the effort required for any task, looks at a 2-minute action and concludes it's too small to protest. So, your ambitious goal of read 50 books a year becomes read 1 page. The dream of write a book becomes write 1 sentence. The daunting challenge of run a 5K becomes put on my running shoes and step outside the front door. That's it. That's the entire task. The beauty of this is that it almost completely eliminates the effort tax we talked about earlier. The action is so laughably easy that arguing with yourself about doing it takes more mental energy than just doing it. This is a crucial psychological judo move. You're using your brain's own laziness against its tendency to procrastinate. This bypasses the brain's defensive procrastination. The 2-minute rule isn't about the outcome. It's not about finishing the goal on day 1. The purpose is to master the art of showing up. It's about building the identity of a person who does the thing, even if it's just for 120 seconds. You're not trying to be a writer, you're just showing up to write. And here's where the magic begins. After you've read 1 page, you might just feel like reading another. After you've written 1 sentence, you might find you have an idea for a second. The 2-minute task is the warm-up for your motivation, not the whole workout. It's the tiny, frictionless first step that gets the engine running. This is the first, most critical step in building momentum. But just doing the action isn't enough to make it stick. For that, we need the second stage of the loop. We need to immediately reward the behavior. To make the habit stick, we need to close the habit loop and send a powerful signal to the brain that the action was worthwhile. This is how our brains are wired. An action followed by a reward gets repeated. An action followed by nothing gets forgotten. A micro-win system solves this by pairing the tiny 2-minute action with an immediate, tangible reward. This isn't about extravagant prizes. The reward must be as small and immediate as the task itself. This is how you begin to consciously rewire your neural pathways. You are creating a new, positive feedback loop, a direct association between the task you've been avoiding and a feeling of pleasure or satisfaction. So, after writing for 2 minutes, you could allow yourself to make a cup of your favorite tea. After putting on your running shoes and stepping outside, you could listen to 1 song from your power-up playlist. But perhaps the most powerful and simple reward is the act of tracking your habit itself. Getting a habit tracker and making a big, satisfying checkmark is a reward in itself. As you check the box, take a moment to pause and say to yourself, "I did it. That's a win." This small act of self-acknowledgement amplifies the effect, bathing your brain in a little hit of dopamine and reinforcing the behavior. The third stage is environment design. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. Instead of fighting your surroundings, you must architect them for success. This means reducing the friction for your desired habits and increasing the friction for your undesired ones. If your 2-minute goal is to read 1 page every morning, don't leave your book on the bookshelf across the room. The night before, place the book and a bookmark on your pillow. When you wake up, the cue is unmissable and the effort to start is 0. You've made the right choice, the easiest choice. Conversely, you must increase friction for the habits you want to break. If you get distracted by your phone, don't rely on willpower to ignore it. An even more powerful strategy is to leave your phone in another room while you work. By adding just a few extra steps, the act of getting up, walking to the other room, and coming back, You introduce enough friction to make you pause and question whether you really want to do it. Often, that small pause is all you need for the initial urge to pass, allowing you to stick with your intended task. You are curating your space to make good habits the easy, obvious choice, and bad habits the difficult, inconvenient one. You are no longer fighting a constant battle against your environment. You are making it your greatest ally in the quest for change. This brings us to the fourth and final stage, tracking and the unbroken chain. As you mark off each successful day, you create a visual record of your progress. After a few days, you'll have a chain of check marks. Your new goal becomes incredibly simple. Don't break the chain. The visual evidence of your consistency is a powerful intrinsic motivator. Each check mark is a vote for your new identity. This is the micro-wins momentum loop in action. A 2-minute start, an immediate reward, a supportive environment, and a visual chain of progress. The snowball of momentum gets bigger and bigger, not through one massive, exhausting push, but through thousands of tiny, consistent, and satisfying rolls. The ambition that once paralyzed you with its sheer scale now has a clear, sustainable, and even enjoyable channel to flow through. You have finally built a bridge across the ambition and action gap, not with brute force willpower, but with an intelligent system designed for the way your brain actually works. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're finally working with yourself. The time for self-blame is over. The single most important takeaway from our time together is this: you are not lazy. You are simply an ambitious person who has been using the wrong strategy, a strategy that works against the fundamental wiring of your brain. The solution, then, is not to try harder, but to become a better strategist. You must become a conscious architect of your own motivation, designing a system that speaks your brain's native language. You are not defined by your inaction, but by your willingness to find a better way forward. Section 2. Your first 7 days of momentum. The theory is powerful, but the transformation happens in the doing. Right now, pick one and only one of your ambitious goals. Now apply the framework we've built. First, define your 2-minute micro-win. Second, choose your immediate reward. Third, and finally, schedule it. For 7 days, your only goal is to execute this simple plan. Your only goal is to not break the chain. This is your call to action. Don't just save this video for later. The change you want begins with a single, tangible step taken right now. Find the pinned comment below this video and share your results. What micro-win did you choose? What was your day 1 result? I will be reading and replying to as many of your stories as I can. Your journey is not one you have to take alone. Let's turn ambition into action, together, starting today.